about rejection. But first of all, what is rejection? Is it when they don't accept you on the job? If your loved one dumps you? What is really a rejection? This morning, actually, I heard a fascinating story, rather tragic one. There was a 300 people wedding in London a couple of days ago. And the bride comes out and says, well guys, groom decided there will be no wedding, so you can all enjoy the food. Now that's a rejection. I want you to think about the rejection that you have experienced. On the other hand, I will tell you my story of how I dealt with my rejections. So I was born and raised in Georgia, and as a kid I had high-pitched voice, you know, and I was bullied for it. I was bullied and I was scared. So what did I do? I became Arya Stark, I counted their names, I went to the gym, became stronger, and kicked their butts. I hope you watched Game of Thrones, otherwise this joke is worthless. So what did I do? I didn't really become Arya Stark. I was scared, I stayed home, I didn't do anything, I distanced myself from everything. I dropped out of singing class, I dropped out of water polo, which I was good at. So I stayed home being scared. So I didn't really help anyway the situation that I was in. But later I remember going to a ski camp with all of my friends who were good skiers. So I wanted to become a skier. A few days in, and I fell down, I twisted my kneecaps, so the idea of me becoming a skier was shattered. I was sitting there, watching them having fun skiing while I couldn't. But the next year I thought to myself, what shall I do now? Stay home, feel sorry for myself, or I should go back again and prove it that I can do it. So I got up, I went there, and 5 days straight I was working very hard while everyone was having fun, walking up and down the mountain, working out my muscles, so I could do it. And I did it. I did it, and I was actually much better skier than many of the people who were skiing for much longer. So I learned a great lesson for myself. If you face the reality you're in, if you face your fear of rejection, of not being able to do something, you can make it happen. You just have to work for it. Then, later in 2008, when the war happened in Georgia, Georgia wasn't a great place for me to live in. I wanted to do something else. My dream was to go to the US. But how could I go to the US? I didn't even speak English well. So I decided to work on SATs, learn my English by YouTube videos, and I was really determined to do it. And by sheer coincidence, my friend reached out to me and said, hey, I'm going to Prague for studies. Would you like to join? I said, maybe I can get started in Prague and later move to the US. But it sounded like a dream. I didn't have money, I didn't have anything. It's not like moving from Georgia, like moving from Swiss to Czech Republic. So I collected enough money to go and pay for the university for 1 semester. So I did it, I went there, I landed in Prague, minus 25 degrees, with my backpack, and I'm thinking, what the hell I'm gonna do now? So I was ready, I was desperate, I had 100 euros in my pocket, and I bought food with it. So I thought, at least I can eat. I put it in the fridge, next day it's gone. So what do I do now? I was ready to work anywhere, to work on the construction, to be a cleaner. But somehow my friend acquaintance reached out to me and he said, oh, my boss really wants to set up a Facebook page, and could you help me? I said, sure, it's easy. So I went in, I did it for them, and his boss really liked my approach, so he said, would you like to work here? I said, yeah, of course, today. So I started working there. I was happy there, but then somehow I got an opportunity to move to London. So I thought, you know, I didn't mention I didn't speak Czech as well. So I thought, maybe I'll go to London, I speak at least English, so I can be there. So I go there, I leave my job, I leave my apartment, give my old stuff away, I move there, and I end up in the office. There is a flat, there's piles of papers, there's some older lady in the corner, looking like dead, but sleeping. And from time to time she raises and says, ah. So I said, what am I going to do now? And then they gave me the computer to open it because there was a password. And I open this computer, I cannot, and I reach out to ex-employee who happened to be Georgian. So he speaks to me on the phone in Georgian and says, "Don't make any mimics now, because she can understand it. She's a dangerous woman, she's a fraud, run." And I'm like, "Really, thank you, great." And I'm thinking, how can I run? Where? I left Prague, I don't have a job, nothing. So I hung up the phone, I pretended that everything, he didn't remember the password, I left. So now I'm starting again from the scratch. I go to Prague, luckily I got the job again, and I was working there. So I realized it is very important to remember wherever you are to do the max you can do there, instead of running back and forth. So I stayed in the magazine 3 years. I created a digital version of this magazine. It was very successful. 250,000 people were visiting it, and we were all happy. But after 3 years, I decided I needed new experiences, so I moved on. I became a freelancer. And as you all know, freelancing job is rejection all day, every day. After a couple of years, I decided to go back to a stable job, digital media job. And I was still not happy, because I thought I settled for less. It was not satisfying. I was not growing in the direction that I wanted. So it was my birthday, actually, at 2 a.m. I had the opening moment when I said, this has to stop. So I reached out to an acquaintance and I said, how about we set up a branch of your social media agency in Georgia? Because I had some connections with the clients. So I convinced him, I went there, and I opened the office. In the first 2 weeks, I found the office, I registered the company, reached out to clients. And if that's not hard enough, then I had to find people to work for me, because we had to deliver to the clients. And that was the hardest part, because I had to train them from scratch, because it's very difficult to find such professionals there. So 1 year in, and the company was the leading social media agency in Georgia. We had been working with the banks, with oil companies, with FMCG. We were doing just great. After 2 years, the company was so successful. Clients were so happy with our services. Our team was amazing, so friendly. It seemed perfect. It was a dream of mine come true. So as the company was growing, I decided that I could work on expansion of the company. And during my absence, I appointed a girl as a director who would handle things when I was not there. She was with us from the beginning. I taught her everything I knew. I helped her establish on the market. And 6 months in, she became a director, and she decided that my services were no longer required, and she could handle it. She was up to the speed, and what was I doing there? So she reached out to my Czech partner and said, we're handling everything, we don't need him. Why don't you get rid of him altogether? So they did. And you're probably wondering how they could get rid of me from my own company. And I'll tell you, yes, stupid me. In 2015, when it all started, I really never thought. That's the problem of startups, that in the beginning it's an emotional idea that you're passionate about, and you often forget about the legal stuff that you have to put on paper. So I forgot it. I was so invested into company's development, I was so much motivated to make it happen that I never insisted on writing down the rules of how our partnership would be handled. So I was out. I was left like this, and I didn't know what to do. But I realized if life taught me everything, you really need to turn this rejection into something positive, to channel your energy of being upset into something how you can recreate yourself. So I didn't give myself a time for remorse and procrastination. I never laid down and sobbed and felt sorry for myself. I created a routine for myself. I said, why don't I every day reach out to people and I say, hey, how can we work together? Because I didn't have a choice otherwise. So I did that, and 2 months in, when this major setback happened, I am my own boss now. I own a consulting company. I work with the digital agencies, and some of our clients are reaching 12 million people in the US selling products. So if anyone would tell me that after this major setback happened and my life was destroyed, I was rejected by the person, I was let go from the company, not that I created, but I was let go by the person whom I invested the most. So this turned around into something very positive, and I'm much happier than before. Thank you.